Are you interested in setting up a U.S. company from Colombia? Then you are in the right place. I'm business and immigration attorney Ali Chavez Suban, recipient of the Best Immigration Lawyer Award and Legal Innovator Award. In this video, you're going to learn the 10 actionable steps that you can take to start a business in the USA from Colombia. So let's get started. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We're going to be publishing new videos every week. Ring the bell so you get notifications every time we release a new video. Now let's get started by discussing the types of corporate entities a Colombian citizen can establish in the USA. First, the two most common types of corporate entities Colombian citizens can form in the US are a limited liability company, also known as an LLC, or a corporation, also known as a C-corp. You can also form a partnership, limited liability partnership, and other types of entities. Now you may have heard of an S corporation too, but this option is only available to permanent residents, also known as green card holders or U.S. citizens. Now, another question we often receive from our clients is, do I need a U.S. visa to open a U.S. business? The answer is no. You do not need a visa to start a business in the USA, nor to purchase an existing business. However, you do need a visa to be able to work for the business from within the United States. However, you do not need a U.S. visa to own and operate the business from Colombia. Let's look at an example of how this could work. Let's say you own and operate a digital marketing business where you provide web design and development, SEO, PPC, and other marketing services. You can set up a U.S. company from Colombia and manage the operations from Colombia without a visa. However, if you wanted to set up the U.S. company from Colombia and then establish a U.S. office, and you wanted to be physically present in the U.S. to manage the daily operations, then you would need a U.S. visa. Therefore, you can set up a U.S. company from Colombia and manage everything from Colombia without a U.S. visa. You may also be eligible to set up a tax-free U.S. LLC under certain circumstances. Check out our other video on how to start a tax-free U.S. LLC for foreigners for more information. Now let's get into the 10 actionable steps that you can take to set up a U.S. company from Colombia. And because we recommend that most companies that are entering the U.S. start as a limited liability company or LLC, we'll discuss the 10 actionable steps to start an LLC in the U.S. The first step is choosing the state of incorporation, but for an LLC, this is called the state of organization. Generally, the best state to register your LLC will be the one you will be conducting business. However, if you're an online company or do business across multiple states, then you may want to consider registering in a state with a lower tax burden, such as Wyoming, Delaware, or Florida. For e-commerce, digital marketing, consulting, or other online businesses, we recommend forming a Wyoming LLC. A Wyoming LLC has 5 main benefits for Colombian entrepreneurs, including ease of use, personal limited liability, privacy and anonymity of ownership, strong asset protection laws, including charging order protection, and it's business friendly, including no state income tax, and it offers low annual fees. For tech startups seeking to raise capital from investors, the best option is forming a Delaware C corporation. You can also start as a U.S. LLC and then later convert your LLC into a Delaware C corporation. This is done frequently through a term sheet negotiated with investors. The right choice for you will depend on your particular circumstances. Okay, so now you've picked the state of organization. Next, you'll want to choose a name for your LLC. Remember, in all 50 states and U.S. territories and possessions, the name needs to end with LLC. Now, you'll need to check the name you've chosen with your state before registering your LLC to make sure that it is available. You should also check with the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office's trademark database to make sure that the name has not been trademarked. Next, you'll want to select a registered agent. A registered agent is responsible for receiving notices from the state, notices of a lawsuit, and other important legal documents. A registered agent can be an individual, trust, or another company. With our business formation service, your registered agent is included. After you've selected a registered agent, you'll want to decide on how your LLC will be managed. There are two types of LLCs, member managed and manager managed. In a member managed LLC, a single member in a single member LLC, or all the members in a multiple member LLC, will have an active role in the operation of the business. A manager managed LLC is formed where a single member in a single member LLC or members in a multiple member LLC only want a passive role in the business, and the single member or multiple members, depending on the type of LLC, do not want to be a part of the daily operations of the business. In this situation, the member or members elect a manager or managers to run the everyday operations. Okay, so now you have chosen the state of organization, a name for your LLC, selected a registered agent, and decided on your LLC's management structure. Now it's time to file the articles of organization with the state or U.S. territory that you have chosen to register your LLC. Generally, you'll be able to file the articles of organization online with the state. With our business formation service, we help you to file the articles of organization and make sure everything is done properly. We offer a 100% money-back guarantee that we will be able to set up your U.S. LLC from Colombia or you get your money back. The next step is to draft an operating agreement that will be in compliance with U.S. law. The operating agreement defines how the LLC will be run on a day-to-day basis, including the management structure, allocation of distributions, LLC accounting, immigration compliance, voting rights, disassociation or dissolution of the business, and much more. With our business formation service, an attorney-drafted operating agreement is included. Now that you have the LLC formed and an operating agreement in place, you'll need to obtain a Federal Employment Identification Number, also known as an EIN. An LLC's EIN is used for reporting taxes, opening a bank account, and hiring employees. You will fill out IRS Form SS-4, and you should use a third-party designee, such as our firm, to help you complete this process. In addition, if you are a single-member LLC, after receiving your EIN, you'll also need to file IRS Forms 5472 and 1120. This is very important. If Form 5472 is not filed or filed incorrectly, the IRS charges a minimum penalty of $25,000. If you have a multi-member LLC that is taxed as a corporation and has at least one foreign owner that owns 25% or more, you must file Forms 5472 and 1120. On the other hand, and very common, if you have a foreign-owned multi-member LLC that is taxed as a partnership, you are not required to file Forms 5472 and 1120. We'd recommend discussing this more with your tax advisor. Our business formation services include obtaining your U.S. company's EIN. Now that you have your LLC's EIN, you are ready to open the LLC's bank accounts. Colombian citizens can open an LLC bank account online with our partner Relay Financial, also known as Relay. To open an account with Relay, you'll need your LLC approval documents, copy of your passport, your contact information, the LLC's business address, the LLC's proof of an EIN, your most recent utility bill with your name and home address, 3 months of your most recent bank statements with your name and home address, a one-page business plan, which we can help you with, a website, and submission of Relay's online application. Colombian citizens can also open an LLC bank account online with our partner, Wise. To open an account with Wise, you'll need your LLC approval documents, copy of your passport, your contact information, the LLC's business address, the LLC's proof of an EIN, and submission of Wise's online application. Wise offers multi-currency accounts, low fees, competitive exchange rates, fast transfers, it's easy to use, and Wise has rejoined the Amazon Payment Service Providers program, which means Amazon sellers can now add Wise business accounts to Amazon Seller Central to sell goods and receive payments. Colombian citizens can also open an LLC bank account online with our partner, Mercury. To open an account with Mercury, you'll need your LLC approval documents, copy of your passport, your contact information, the LLC's business address, the LLC's proof of an EIN, and submission of Mercury's online application. Colombian citizens can also open an LLC bank account online with our partner, Mural. To open an account with Mural, you'll need your LLC approval documents, copy of your passport, your contact information, the LLC's business address, the LLC's proof of an EIN, and submission of Mural's online application. Please note that Relay, Wise, Mercury, and Mural are a best fit for online businesses and not cash-intensive businesses. If you will be handling a lot of cash deposits, then these businesses would not be a good fit. However, if you will be accepting all credit card transactions online, then these businesses would be a great fit. We also partner with Chase and Ocean Bank for high net worth individuals to open accounts remotely. We are constantly adding banking and other partners to our network to help our clients, so please contact us for more information. The other alternative to opening your LLC's bank account in the U.S. is traveling to the U.S. and opening the account in person. All banks have different policies concerning opening business accounts, so the best thing to do is to call the bank ahead of time and ask to speak with the branch manager. Tell them you have a U.S. LLC, you are a non-resident, and that you do not have an SSN or ITIN, but you have an EIN for your LLC. Ask them for all the documentation they require to open an account and take detailed notes. Also, ask if they can send you this information via email or if it is listed anywhere online. Then ask the branch manager if you can email them your documents for review before coming into the bank. If everything looks good, ask the branch manager if you can make an appointment to meet with them to open the account. We'd recommend planning to stay in the U.S. for at least 1 to 2 weeks just in case there are any delays or extra things you need to get in order to open your account. Additional things to do may be applying for a business license, permit, or other document while in the U.S. Once you have opened your bank account, you're ready to start doing business. When setting up your U.S. company from Colombia, you'll want to speak with a tax advisor to discuss your tax reporting obligations in the U.S. The 3 most common tax classification options to discuss with a tax advisor for your U.S. LLC include to be taxed as a disregarded entity if owned by one individual or entity, to be taxed as a partnership if owned by 2 or more individuals or entities, or to be taxed as a C corporation if owned by 1 or more individuals or entities. Single-member LLCs have an informational tax filing requirement. Every year, a single-member LLC must file IRS Forms 5472 and a Pro Forma 1120. A U.S. LLC taxed as a partnership must file an informational partnership return called Form 1065 and issue a K-1 to each LLC member. Each member is responsible for filing a U.S. income tax return and filing a quarterly IRS Form 8805 for partnership withholding tax. To file an individual U.S. income tax return, then a member would need to obtain an individual tax identification number through filing an IRS Form W-7. If the foreign-owned multi-member LLC is taxed as a partnership and has no income and no expenses, deductions, or credits it would like to claim, then there is no Form 1065 and K-1 filing requirement. However, LLC partnerships may cause foreign owners to encounter a number of unanticipated U.S. tax consequences. U.S. partnerships that have foreign partners are required to withhold U.S. tax on their distributive share of partnership income. This withholding occurs quarterly and must be made at the highest graduated rate for the particular type of income, which is currently 21% for corporations and 37% for ordinary income earned by individuals. Partnerships must annually file Form 8804, Annual Return for Partnership Withholding Tax, to report the tax withholding that took place during the year. An LLC taxed as a C corporation would be responsible for filing the following: a 1120 corporate return for a U.S. LLC, file 5472 for a U.S. LLC, file 1120 for any foreign entity that owns the U.S. LLC. A personal return is not required for a U.S. LLC taxed as a corporation. You may also be eligible to set up a tax-free U.S. LLC under certain circumstances. Check out our other video on how to start a tax-free U.S. LLC for foreigners for more information. Consult with your attorney and tax advisor to determine which tax classification is best for you. As you see, U.S. law is very complex. We highly recommend that you speak with an experienced attorney and tax advisor prior to setting up your U.S. company from Colombia to ensure that it's done the right way. Save time and avoid costly mistakes. We're here to help you set up your U.S. company from Colombia the right way from the start. Business formation companies such as Stripe, Atlas, LegalZoom, FirstBase.io, and DOLA, to name a few, are not law firms, and they cannot provide you with legal advice nor a tax opinion. That's what sets our service apart. We are a top-rated U.S. law firm specializing in helping Colombian entrepreneurs and investors like you to start U.S. businesses, and we can provide you with legal advice and tax opinions. We have helped numerous non-residents from all over the world establish U.S. LLCs. Our business formation service includes the following: LLC formation, operating agreement, LLC membership certificate, EIN, registered agent service, business mailing address, applying for a U.S. bank account, applying for Stripe, U.S. business phone number, and access to additional third-party resources such as an accountant, bookkeeper, tax advisor, payroll service, sales tax registration, trademarks, and much more. To learn more about how we can help you, click on the link in the description below. I hope you found this information helpful. If so, please click the like button and leave a comment below. And make sure to subscribe to this channel to get access to more helpful immigration tips and solutions.